Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is, well, it's pretty ambitious. We are going to try and cut through thousands of pages of business literature to give you a real foundational understanding of what actually makes a company work.
Right. We're not talking about, the latest management fads or super complex accounting.
No, this is about the core principles, the things that don't change.
It's sort of the ultimate shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. We're skipping past all the complicated methods that, frankly, paralyze a lot of people and just focusing on simple rules. Ralph Waldo Emerson had that great quote.
Oh, which one?
Principles are few. The man who grasps principles can successfully select his own methods. And that's our goal here, to give you that firm foundation so you can build your own methods.
I love that this whole perspective comes from a real dedication to self-education. The author just actively skipped the whole traditional MBA route.
He did. Instead, he spent years working inside a huge Fortune 50 company, P&G, and just immersed himself in reading hundreds of books on everything from psychology to systems theory.
All to just bypass the system and get to the top 1% of practical business knowledge.
And that choice was really driven by a pretty sharp critique of the standard MBA. There are, I think, three big problems he points out. First is just the incredible cost and ROI.
It's astronomical.
It is. I mean, these programs are so expensive now. You're giving up 2 years of income plus massive tuition. You're basically mortgaging your life for a degree.
With absolutely no guarantee that the experience is even worth that huge financial hit.
Exactly. And then the second issue is what he calls worthless concepts. You spend all this time learning these really complex financial formulas.
Things you'll never use.
Right, exactly. Statistical models that are totally disconnected from the day-to-day reality of, starting or improving a real business.
Right, unless you're managing $1 billion merger or something.
Precisely. And the third critique is the simplest one. There's no guarantee. Graduating doesn't promise you a high-paying job, and it definitely doesn't mean you've learned how to make tough decisions or manage people.
Those things only come from practice, not from a classroom. So, okay, let's skip the fluff and get right to the fundamentals.
Let's do it.
We have to start with the most critical one of all, which is just external reality. We have to introduce the iron law of the market. This rule is, it's absolutely unforgiving.
It's the brutal truth of business, really, and the iron law is simple. If you don't have a large group of people who really want what you're offering
And are willing to pay for it.
yes, and are willing to pay for it,
Yeah.
then your chances of building a viable business are, well, they're basically zero.
And the perfect, maybe painful example of this is the Segway, the personal transporter.
Oh, classic.
Dean Kamen, brilliant inventor, poured over $100 million into developing this thing. He thought it was going to be a revolution in urban transport.
And the technology was incredible. It was convenient. It was green. It was, supposed to replace cars in cities.
Or the market just didn't care.
Not at all. They were targeting sales of 50,000 units a year. But after 5 years, they'd only sold 23,000 units total.
Wow. So spending $100 million on R&D doesn't matter if people don't see a $5,000 problem that this thing solves for them.
Exactly. They found it awkward, maybe a bit goofy, or, they'd just rather walk.
So it's a powerful lesson that amazing tech it doesn't matter if there's no demand.
It's completely secondary.
But wait, if the tech was so good, why couldn't they find some niche, like for mail carriers or security guards in a mall, something to make it viable?
And they tried. They really did. But then you run into all these other hurdles, regulations, logistics, and it just erodes the core benefit. The critical thing to realize is that the market exists on its own. You can't just will it into existence because you're passionate.
And that, right there, brings us to the traps of personal motivation.
Yes.
Because if you ignore that iron law, your own motivations can lead you way off track.
Yeah.
First is the mercenary rule. Don't start a business just to make money.
Right. Because running a business is always, always harder than you think it's going to be. And if money is your only reason for being there, you will quit the second things get difficult.
And they always do.
They always do. And the flip side is just as dangerous, the Crusader rule. You can't start a business just because you're intensely passionate about an idea, especially if that passion makes you blind to what the market is telling you.
You can't change the world if you can't pay the bills.
That's the one. An interesting idea is not the same thing as a solid business.
So the sweet spot is finding an attractive market that also, interests you enough to keep at it every single day.
Yes, that's the goal.
Okay, so let's say we found that niche. How do we start to think about what we're offering is actually valuable?
Well, the first thing is to understand that value is subjective. It's not in the thing itself. It's in the mind of the consumer. It's within us. But the kind people pay money for, economic value, it usually takes on a few standard forms.
Right, and it's important to know what these are. You could sell a tangible product, like a car. You could offer a service, which is just, helping someone for a fee, like a plumber.
Or a shared resource where you're charging for access to something, like a gym membership or Netflix.
Huh.
Then you have more specialized things, like a lease letting someone use an expensive asset for a while. And of course, insurance, which is really just selling peace of mind by transferring risk.
But the price people are willing to pay for any of these, that comes down to perceived value.
It does.
Right.
And the key is to create value that needs the least amount of effort from the customer to get the best possible result.
That effort part is huge.
Paramount. Think about cleaning a swimming pool. You could sell a homeowner a kit with all the chemicals and tools for maybe, I don't know, $50. That's a lot of effort on their part.
Effort, yeah.
But that same homeowner will happily pay $250 a month for a weekly service to do it for them. The result, a clean pool, is the same, but the service removes all their effort, so the perceived value skyrockets.
That's a great lesson. You're shifting from selling tools to selling a solution. So, okay, we've got the market, we've got the value. Now the focus has to be on execution, on the system itself.
Exactly. This is where we get into continuous improvement, or what we call iteration. It's a constant cycle. You watch what's happening, you ideate improvements, you guess which one will work best, you act on it, and then you measure the result.
And that feedback loop is the heartbeat of the whole thing.
It is, but when you're getting feedback, you have to be ruthless. Don't ask your friends and family. They'll just tell you what you want to hear.
They'll sugarcoat it.
Always. You have to find real potential customers. And the only feedback that really counts is their willingness to buy something, a pre-order, a deposit, something. Yeah. Total apathy is the worst possible response.
So once you have a process that works, you need to turn it into a system. You make it explicit, repeatable.
Yes, because systems can be examined, improved, and, this is the holy grail, they can be automated. Think of a Google search algorithm. It's a massive system that gives you an answer in, 0.2 seconds with zero human help? That's pure automation.
And we can measure a system's efficiency with throughput, the rate it achieves its goal.
Right. You have unit throughput, which is how long it takes to make one thing. But the really important one is dollar throughput, how much profit you're generating per hour or per day. That's the number that keeps the lights on.
And that's what allows a business to scale.
Scale is key. It's the ability to duplicate a process as your volume goes up. And here's the thing. Humans don't scale, but systems do.
Right. One person can only do so much.
But a good system can handle millions of interactions. And once your system is scalable, you get what's called amplification.
Where a tiny change has a massive impact.
A huge impact. The classic example is the soda can. The industry made this tiny change, necking the can, just tapering the metal a little at the top.
See, the minuscule amount of aluminum per can.
Exactly. But multiply that tiny saving by 131 billion cans a year, and the cost savings are just enormous.
But there's a big warning here, right? Don't get too complex too fast.
Yes. You have to respect Gall's law. A complex system that works is invariably found to have evolved from a simple system that worked. If you try to build the perfect complex system from scratch, it will fail.
Because you can't possibly predict everything.
You can't. So you have to start simple, build a working prototype, and then iterate your way to complexity.
That's fantastic advice. Okay, so we've covered the business structure. Now we have to shift to the human mind running it. Let's talk about the internal psychological traps that can ruin everything. Starting with biggest one, the sunk cost trap.
This one is a killer. It's such a common emotional mistake. Sunk costs are just, they're investments of time or money or energy that are already gone. You can't get them back.
And the trap is?
The trap is continuing to pour resources into a failing project just because it feels wrong to waste what you've already put in.
It's so brutal. The story in the source material about the author's grandfather and his apartment complex, the Baronel, that really hit me.
It's a powerful story. He had a reasonable budget, but then during excavation, they hit this huge deposit of unstable blue clay.
Oh, no.
And fixing it was going to cost 3 times the original budget, making the whole project unprofitable, but he just couldn't walk away.
He felt like he had to finish it to justify the money he'd already spent.
Exactly. And the final cost ballooned to what would be about $8 million today. It led to years of angry investors and legal trouble.
All because of sunk cost.
Mhm.
The lesson is that the only thing that matters is the additional investment needed versus the expected reward now. You have to be willing to cut your losses.
Stop throwing good money after bad. And this happens inside our own heads, too, with procrastination. It's often just a conflict between two different systems in your brain.
What do you mean by that?
Well, one part of you might really want to get something done, but another part might be prioritizing, say, rest or avoiding a perceived threat.
It's like having a heater and an air conditioner in the same room, both running full blast.
Perfect analogy. You're using a ton of energy, but you're not getting anywhere. You're just stuck. And this is all tied to motivation.
Right.
Motivation is really an emotion. It's linking a desire, moving towards something with a threat, which is moving away. And because our brains are wired to prioritize safety, moving away from threats always wins. So if you want to be motivated, you first have to eliminate those inner conflicts.
And beyond the psychological, you just have to manage your physical capacity, your gas tank.
Absolutely. Your mind is a physical system. You can't just run it into the ground. Taking care of yourself isn't optional. It's the #1 driver of productivity.
The inputs are pretty basic, right? Good food, exercise, and sleep.
Non-negotiable. High-quality food, regular exercise, even just a walk and 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Time isn't the key variable. Energy is.
And our energy isn't constant. It's cyclical.
It is. We all operate on this 90-minute cycle, the ultradian rhythm. You have about 90 minutes of high focus, followed by a necessary downswing for rest.
But we try to fight that. We chug coffee and just power through.
And it's a terrible strategy. You're fighting your own biology. Instead of one long 4-hour burnout session, you should be doing 90-minute sprints followed by a real 15-minute break. Walk around, stretch, do nothing.
Work with the cycle, not against it.
If you do that, your long-term effectiveness goes through the roof.
That's a total paradigm shift managing energy, not just time. Okay, let's
Right.
bring it all home. How does all this effort actually connect with a customer? Let's talk about marketing and relationships, starting with reputation.
Which is, you could argue, the most effective marketing there is. It's entirely earned. People pay more for a good reputation. That's why Tide costs more than the generic brand.
And you can't control it directly.
No, it's the sum of everything you do. You just have to earn it over time by making people glad they chose to do business with you.
But before any of that can happen, you need trust.
Without trust, no transaction happens. Period. And when you don't have it initially, we rely on things like the Better Business Bureau or escrow accounts to bridge that gap.
So once you have some trust, the job of selling is really about eliminating barriers to purchase.
That's all it is. Identifying and removing all the risks and uncertainties that are stopping someone from saying yes.
And the best way to do that is with risk reversal.
Absolutely. This is where you, the seller, take the risk off the buyer and put it on yourself. Because people hate feeling like they've lost or wasted money way more than they love gaining something.
We see this everywhere now, right? The mattress industry with its 100-night money-back guarantees.
It's become standard. SaaS companies offering a 30-day free trial with no credit card. It's the take the puppy home strategy. You make the trial risk-free and you'll close way more sales, even if you have to eat the cost of a few returns.
And all of this effort is wasted if you don't actually tell the person what to do next. You need a clear call to action, or CTA.
It has to be a single, simple, obvious action.
The difference is huge. A bad CTA on a billboard is, Tony's hamburgers are the best.
Right. It's a statement. It doesn't lead to anything. A good CTA is take exit 25 and turn right for the best burger in town. It's specific and actionable.
Okay, so we've gone from the market to systems to psychology to the customer.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, let's touch on prioritizing all this.
Yes, the concept of the critical few. This is that old 80-20 rule. In almost any business, you'll find that something like 20% of your customers account for 80% of your revenue.
So the key is to identify that 20%.
Identify those critical few inputs, the customers, the products, the tasks that give you most of your results, and just focus your limited time and energy there.
That's a powerful filter for anything. Okay, here's our final thought, and it's something to help with all that complexity we talked about. It's the concept of externalization.
Externalization is just the process of getting your thoughts out of your head and into the real world. You either write them down or you speak them out loud.
Because when they're just rattling around in there, they're a mess.
They're a total mess. But when you have to explain a problem to someone else, or even just to a rubber duck on your desk, you're forced to structure it. You access different parts of your brain. You often find you solve your own problem before they even say a word.
The more you externalize, the clearer your thinking gets.
And the faster you'll make progress.
So take one of these ideas, maybe it's identifying a sunk cost in your life, or using risk reversal on a project, or just trying those 90-minute work cycles, and apply it today. Thanks for diving in with us.